Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be showing you my 2021 bullet journal tour. This was one of the first years that I really felt like I kept up with my bullet journal all year, and I really got into it each month and planned out a theme and made sure it was all looking nice, and I'm really glad that I was able to do that this year because for the past few years I've been kind of on and off with it. I usually use it to some extent, but I haven't really put the effort into it for a full year in a while, so this is a really exciting year for me. So the journal that I've been using this year is from Archer and Olive, which is a really great brand for stationery and especially for bullet journalists. So this is the journal that I have. She's old, she's dirty, we know, but she's really lasted me all year, and it's such a good quality journal, really nice quality paper, and I just love it. It's a great size too for bullet journaling. So before I get into the tour portion of this video, I just wanted to talk about some of the materials that I use. So when I'm planning out my pages, I just sketch it out, usually just in a pencil, and then I have a couple of different fine liners that I like, just plain black fine liners that work great for bullet journaling. I really love the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pens as fine liners, and I've also used the Sakura Micron fine liners as well. But I also, later this year, I started using Posca pens, which are these paint pens, for larger illustrations. I don't really use them just for writing in the journal because I feel like that's a little much. You don't need it for that, but they are great if you want to do illustrations in your bullet journal. I also use a variety of really small fine liners in various colors to write in my spreads. So on my calendar pages, in my habit tracker, in my weekly spreads, I often use the Stettler Tri-Plus fine liners, and I just like to choose a couple of different colors for each month that go with the theme that I chose to write in all of my spreads, so these are a great buy as well. So the marker that I use on the majority of the pages in my book, which you see on Instagram and everywhere else, are these, which are the Tombow dual brush pens. They have one end that's a brush tip, and then the other end is a bullet nib. So these are great, really versatile. You can use them for anything. I use them in almost all of the pages of my journal. And I had been seeing a lot online of people that use these, which are the Zebra, I think Zebra is the brand, Midliners. Oh, mild liners. The Zebra mild liner. I use the Sakura Jelly Roll pens. I have maybe like 4 or 5 of these. I have a white, and I have metallic silver and gold, and I have like a metallic gunmetal color. And these come really in handy when you just want to like add some accents, add a little bit of reflectiveness to some of the pages. So those are all the tools that I use in my bullet journal. So before we start the tour portion of this video, I just want to make sure that everyone knows not everything that you make in your journal has to be perfect. I know that a lot of people get really overwhelmed when they want to start bullet journaling because it seems like too intense, or it takes a lot of work, or you just have a lot of stress and pressure to make it look pretty because those are the pictures that you see on Instagram and the pictures you see on Pinterest. But I just want everyone to know that I've been bullet journaling for maybe 6 years now, and it's taken me a long time to really figure out what works for me in the journal, and it's totally okay to have pages that you don't use or pages that you don't like, because you can always redo pages. You can always take them out, you can always paint over it. It doesn't matter if you mess it up or if you don't end up using a spread that you thought you would. So with that being said, let's get into the tour portion of this video. And here we go. So if you see some red paper on top, it's just because it's covering personal information. I went through and covered everything up before. So this is my opening page for 2021. I did fill up this whole journal for 1 year, so this is a great size, for me at least, personally, to use for 1 full year. So that's this. And then these are 2 of my favorite spreads. I've done this one, A Year in Pixels, every year for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years in my bullet journal, and it's so fun to do every year. This wasn't my original idea, but I just love it. And then this one, I don't know if I've ever seen somebody else do this before, but I've done it a couple of times where I just pick my favorite song of each month throughout the year, and it's a fun way to track different songs that I was loving, whether they be new songs or old ones that I rediscovered. It's just really fun way to do that. And here we have my first divider page. This is for January. This was one of my favorite themes that I did all year. I loved this rainbow frame, this little jukebox. It was actually inspired by the title cards for Schoolhouse Rock. So if you ever watched Schoolhouse Rock when you were a kid, when they like show the name of a new song that they're gonna do, it's in this little diner and they have this rainbow frame and a little jukebox in the bottom corner. That's what this was inspired by. And here is my January calendar, and every month I do a little illustration next to the calendar just to keep the theme going and just to be a little creative. So that's January. And then here I have my habit tracker and my goals spread for January. I did a habit tracker every month this year, and I also started adding another box on the side which just says some more abstract or larger, longer term goals than just everyday things like in the habit tracker. So every month on the first day I would think of maybe like 5 to 10 goals that I had for that month, and I would write them here, and it would be just a good place to come back and reference what kind of things I wanted to do for that month. And then here's my first weekly spread. There's going to be a lot of pages that are just boring weekly spreads, but sometimes I try to keep them with the theme by adding a little banner or something at the top, and usually choosing some sort of inspiration word for that week. So this spread is a playlist of songs that I was loving at the time. This is still a great playlist. I don't think I've made this on my Spotify, but if anyone's interested, I can make it, and then you can add it to your library on Spotify. It's a great playlist. And I love this jukebox too. This one is a little bit more retro. It's so cute. And then this page, I just do this at the beginning of every semester. So if you didn't know, I'm in college right now. In college, a lot of the time, teachers are allowed to like pick whatever sort of platform they use for their class. So some of my teachers used Blackboard, some of them used Canvas, some of them used Google Classroom, and some people just communicate over email. And on the first day of classes, it's always so stressful because you can't figure out like what class is on which platform and who the teachers are for each class. So a couple days before the semester starts, I always do a spread like this where I write down what the class is, the name of the class, who the professor is, their email address, what platform they use, and then if there's any materials or books that I need to order for that class, I always write it down here, and also where I can find the schedule for the class, because that is always so important. So this is a really great idea if you get really overwhelmed at the beginning of every semester too, because I totally am like that, and this is a great way to be able to reference back those first few weeks of class to make sure that you have everything sorted. Here is another weekly spread. This was just my first week of classes. You can tell how busy I was. And I was so stressed out that week that I decided to take a little break to do this little illustration to remind myself that I need time to breathe. So, you know. This is a homework spread. I did this for a while, for a few semesters in college. I don't really use it anymore, but it was good for a while. I just basically have this list of every assignment that I have for every class, basically, and I don't add it all at once. I just add it as the weeks come on, and then I write what the class was, what the assignment was, and when it's due, and then I check it off when it's done. It's a great way to just have all of the assignments in one place instead of having to like reach and grab for different classes and stuff like that. And here is my February calendar and my February little illustration. I actually forgot to do the divider page in between these two, but I did it on a later page just because I still wanted to do one. I did this really cute Valentine's Day pink and red theme with this groovy 70s font in this little camper van. I really loved this theme. I thought it was so fun. I really think that if you're going to do a theme for each month in your journal, then it's good to pick a couple of colors that go along with whatever font or icon that you choose, because it really helps tie it all together and also helps to separate each of the sections in your journal. So here is my February habit tracker and goals and a weekly spread. I continued that really cute, colorful pink and red theme here. And here is that divider spread I was talking about. I totally remembered like a couple days later and I was like, oh, dang it. And so I just put it in here. But I really love this divider spread too. It's so cute. And then here's another weekly spread and a little illustration that I did. I actually did a reel on my Instagram of me making this little illustration. It's really fun. You can go check it out on my Instagram. And then here's another weekly spread. And then this one was the first of this kind that I did in this journal. I don't know if I made this up or if I saw somebody else do it, I can't remember, but basically it's just a spread where you write something good that happened to you every single day or just what you did. I continued it every month afterwards, and I just thought it was so cute. It's a really great way to have perspective on the month and be positive at the end of the day when you're doing your habit tracker, and then be able to come over to this spread and just write something positive that happened to you during the day. Okay, and this is one of my favorite spreads. So I feel like in past bullet journals that you might see on my channel, I had done a movie spread, but it was more of movies that I wanted to watch or movies that were coming out, and I was just keeping track of the ones that I wanted to see in theaters. But I never did one like this, which is I just wrote down every movie that I watched this year. So I wrote down ones that I saw in theaters, just at home. There's new movies that I've seen and rewatches. So it was so fun to keep track of every movie that I watched. And I actually didn't even fit all of them in here. I did another spread. I've just started another page to keep track of more movies because I've seen so many this year. So I just wrote the name of the movie, the director, and I rated them all out of 5 stars, which was really fun. Don't roast me based on the movies that I watched this year. It's been a tough year for everyone, okay? So my Disney Channel binges are really reflective of that. But yeah, it was just so much fun. I love doing this spread. And then this is more embarrassing, believe it or not, than the movie spread. I read 7 books this year, which is and I literally haven't even finished this, and these are almost all YA novels, so you know what, it's fine. It's just, I've decided that I'm going to start reading whatever books that I want. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, it's just what I want to read. So that's the books that I read this year. And then here is another little illustration of some Taylor Swift lyrics. I don't know why I did this here because New Year's Day is in January and I did it in February, but whatever. Here's another weekly spread and a little simple illustration of some vans. And my beautiful March divider. I loved this spread too. I liked it to go with this green and teal kind of theme here, but I also included this little lava lamp icon and also these sparkles, and these concentric circles were kind of like a theme here. And I thought this was so fun. This was kind of out of my comfort zone, but I really liked it. And then here is my calendar page. So I have this calendar, and this is a lyric from Daisies by Katy Perry. So this is a great song. And I love that green and teal theme here. And here is my habit tracker and goals spread, and I also moved that moments spread to be this like full page double spread, and I did this layout with the habit tracker and the moments for all the other months also. And we got 2 weekly spreads, just boring to-do lists. And here's another one of those homework spreads that I was talking about, and this, you can obviously tell this is where I stopped doing it. Actually, I'm pretty sure this is where the semester ended. Yeah, this is in May. So here we've got another weekly spread and this little playlist. I love to do playlists in my bullet journal because if you haven't been able to tell from, if you follow me on Instagram, I do a lot of artwork that is inspired by music and by lyrics that I like, so I really love to just incorporate songs that I love into my bullet journal, also by doing little playlists of songs that I'm liking at the moment. So this playlist was some 70s and disco songs that I like, combined with some modern day songs that I feel like have that same vibe. So we have some Harry Styles, some Casey Musgraves, just lots of fun stuff like that. And then here is a little thing. I was just playing with some fonts. Sometimes I just like to, I don't know, do fun stuff like that. It's ugly, but you know, whatever. And then this, I really like this spread. This is a Taylor Swift song also. More weekly spreads. And here is my April divider. I actually did a video on my YouTube channel of this spread, so I was setting up the April month of my journal. So I did this spread, this divider, the calendar, whatever. So if you haven't seen that video, I would definitely recommend checking it out because I definitely go more in depth about how I make all of my spreads. So that video is a good reference. I loved this theme though, these colorful flowers. It was so fun for spring. Here is the little illustration in my calendar. really cute and simple. And then here is my goals and moments spread. I love to do this kind of thing in the habit tracker. You can just pick whatever colors you're doing for your theme. You can kind of make it like a pattern in the grid, which is more fun because it makes you feel like you should do all of your things, so it will be a pretty pattern when you're done with them. We've got more weekly spreads. More weekly spreads. I was very obviously busy in April. And here is just a really fun 2-page illustration I did. I think I did an Instagram reel of this illustration as well. And then here is my May divider. This wasn't my favorite theme I ever did, but I think it was a cool kind of step out of my comfort zone. I like this font. It kind of reminded me of like tattoos, but also kind of like psychedelic 60s poster art, which was really fun, and I thought the colors were pretty unique as well. And I really liked this illustration I did. I don't know, it's just fun. It's different for me, I feel like. Another calendar. Here's my May habit tracker and my May moments. So that was fun. And then finishing the semester strong. Here's 2 weekly spreads. And this super fun spread. So I started an Etsy shop in January of 2021. And I wanted to have a way to track all of the different places that I ship my orders to in the United States. So this spread has been so fun. I've been able to keep track of all those different places my art has gone to in the US. Here you can obviously tell was when my summer vacation started from school, so I was just not really keeping track of anything. And you know what, I think that's okay too. There's definitely spreads in this journal that are not full, that I didn't end up using, and you know, that's just the beauty of having a bullet journal, because you're able to make a planner and tailor it completely to your needs. So after I did this, I realized over the summer I don't really need to have daily to-do lists, which was really nice for me. And so that was just something I learned, and I was able to adapt later in the book, which is really nice, really great thing about using a bullet journal. And here is my super cute June divider. I loved this theme. Very cottagecore, very natural, cute little mushrooms and little bumblebees. I actually used here some gel pens, so all of this gold is really reflective and shiny in the sunlight. And here is a calendar, an illustration. I remember thinking I used to always do really long quotes like this in my old bullet journals, but I haven't done one like that in a while, so I wanted to do something really pretty with a combination of these pretty handwritten fonts. So I really loved that one, actually, how it turned out. And here we have the June habit tracker goals and my moments spread. This one was so fun too. I love to do little borders and stuff like this on in my journal. And then here's some weekly spreads for the summer when I was starting to work, and I had some summer classes that I was taking, so I was definitely more busy during this time. And more weekly spreads. And then here's another weekly spread, and this is a little playlist that I made. So this is what I called the Taylor Swift Cruel Summer playlist, and this one is actually on my Spotify. I will put the Spotify link on the screen. So this is all of the Taylor Swift songs from every album that remind me of summer. So I know a lot of Taylor Swift fans like to kind of separate her music into moods or into seasons. So these are the songs that I picked out from each album that remind me of summertime. So if you want to listen to this playlist, I have it and I can link it for you. So here is something that I think is a reality of bullet journaling as well. I made this divider spread for July and I hate it, but you know, it doesn't matter because later a couple pages later, I just made another one that I liked more, and you know, that's fun. Not everything that you make can be perfect, so I really like this transformation to how it is later. So this is my July calendar and my July illustration. So this is a picture of Taylor Swift. I can put the reference picture on the screen. This is from her performing at the Wango Tango Festival in 2019 when Lover came out. And this is a lyric from the song Cruel Summer by Taylor Swift. And this is a really cute, I love this theme. I actually did this for July of 2020, I'm pretty sure, in my last year's bullet journal. And I just love this font, and it's just so fun and colorful for the summertime, so I wanted to include it here again. And I did, oh, it actually kind of matches my nails right now. And And then I did this cool rainbow calendar, which I liked. And here is my July goals and the July moments, which was so fun. I feel like this is a very accurate theme for my personal taste. This was like one of my favorites. And then here is that divider that I said I redid. So I love this one so much more than the previous one. And you know, I just wanted to remake it. I changed the colors. I just did a little bit of different design, and I really like how this one turned out. And I remember the day that I made this one, I was so excited about this theme that I ended up doing this little illustration that I love. I just think it's so cute. And then here is some weekly spreads. Another weekly spread, and then I did this little illustration to Dancing Queen by ABBA, just for fun one day. So here is my August divider. This spread is so fun. So for August, I remember I wanted to do something a little bit different than what I normally do, so I decided to take the inspiration from a character instead of just like a color scheme or a font. So I ended up going with Wonder Woman, who is my favorite superhero. And I just thought all this vintage artwork of Wonder Woman is so pretty. I also wanted to be clear, I didn't design these, all of the images of Wonder Woman you see here I didn't originally design. They're taken from original comic books, but I think it's just so fun, and what a cute new fun theme for me to try. And I like to use her color scheme with the red and blue and yellow throughout. So here is the calendar. And I did this banner like her crown, cute little illustration of her, and the goals and moments spread. This border is like her lasso. Just thought it was so fun and just like different for me to try. And then I did this really cute illustration of her with one of Wonder Woman's quotes, which I love. Then we did some more weekly spreads. More weekly spreads, and here is where I actually started the fall semester, so I have that same spread that I was talking about in January, where I write down all of my classes, my teachers. So here you can see I did that for this semester as well. And then here is my homework spread, so you can tell this past semester, fall 2021, my classes, we kind of had the same sort of assignments every week, so I ended up not really needing to write them down as much anymore, which was really nice for me to just be able to keep track in my brain of what I had to do instead of having to write it down all the time. So I ended up stopping the use of this spread, but that's totally okay, you know. And here is this super cute, I love this divider spread for September. I chose this disco ball theme, and I got this really cute new set of markers that I wanted to use, the color scheme from that, so that's where this color scheme came from. And I thought I would try to do something fun with this month, where I did the lyrics to the whole first verse of September by Earth, Wind & Fire, and I kind of wrote them on each page, so if you flip through the pages continuously, it kind of strings together all the lyrics to that verse. So it says, "Say, do you remember dancing in September?" And so then these are the first line of that song. And then here is the calendar. And then we have the next lyrics right here. This is the habit tracker and moments spread. And I liked that this little grid kind of looked like a disco ball, which is really fun. And then here is the weekly spreads. So I did continue the lyrics here and here. I was also going to say, one of my songs of the year, one month, I discovered, I don't know how I hadn't heard this before, but Taylor Swift has an acoustic cover of September by Earth, Wind & Fire that she recorded like at the Spotify some Spotify event, and it is so good. It's such a cute rendition of the song she plays on her acoustic guitar. We got more weekly spreads, more lyrics. And here we get to October. So for October, I like to go for like a classic kind of kitschy Halloween theme usually, because if you didn't know, Halloween is my favorite holiday ever. And so usually that's what I go for when I'm doing a Halloween or an October spread in my bullet journal. But this year I wanted to try something a little bit different. So My boyfriend actually gave me the idea to do a Scooby-Doo theme for October. And I actually, if you didn't know, one of my Halloween costumes this year was Daphne. I dressed up as Daphne for one of my classes' little Halloween parties. So I thought it was a great fitting theme for the bullet journal. And I love this kind of 60s font up here, which kind of goes with the theming of Scooby-Doo. And of course, I had to draw all the characters. So we have Mystery Incorporated right here with the calendar page. And then we got my goals and moments. I love little Daphne and Velma. They're so cute together. And then we got a little weekly spread, more weekly spreads, and a little picture of Daphne and Fred. And I also wanted to be clear, these images I didn't create of any of these characters either. These are from the cartoon, so. And then here is my beautiful November spread, divider spread. I loved this theme. This was totally new for me and kind of out of my comfort zone, but I just love how it turned out. And I actually got featured on the Posca USA Instagram account for this spread and my calendar spread for this month. They reached out to me and asked if they could share my thing as an artist spotlight, and I was so excited about that. And also, if you notice, this hand actually has 6 fingers on it by accident, you know? Things happen, and I didn't notice until after I had finished the whole spread, so there you go. But yeah, I loved this color scheme. It felt so fall, but also retro and cool, and this font really reminds me of Fleetwood Mac. So we have this beautiful, I love this illustration that I did with a nice quote in the calendar. And then we have the goals and moments spread, which was so fun. And then we got a little bit of a weekly spread. And here you see I did this other weekly spread that I actually did not end up using. I think this was because this was kind of my finals week, or like one of my last weeks of classes, so I was just so busy that I was just writing stuff in my phone and like not even taking the time to write it down physically. And that's how you know that you're really stressed and you're really busy, because you don't even write stuff down. You just try to remember. But then I did this nice Taylor Swift illustration here to take a break from studying for finals and stuff. And then here we have a really cute December spread. I knew that I wanted to do something also kind of vintage inspired for December, because I love looking at vintage Christmas cards and vintage Christmas pictures and stuff on Pinterest. I think they're so fun, and they really feel like nostalgic and fun the way Christmas always does. So I wanted to do this fun December spread with this mid-century modern font and these little doodles. And I included another Taylor Swift lyric here. This is from her song Christmas Tree Farm, which is one of my favorite Christmas songs, which was so fun. And here we have the goals and the moments. Super fun. I love these little starburst, like 60s starburst designs. And here we have my current weekly spread that I'm using right now, so that is just great. So that's my last weekly spread. And then here I just talked about how I did a continuation of my movie spread here. So I just watched my first movie that didn't fit onto that last page, and it was Good Luck Charlie, It's Christmas. So that's a great Christmas movie if you're looking for one to watch. So yeah, I have a couple of pages left that I will probably use up before the end of the year. I got about 3 or 4 pages, but that is my journal. So if you made it this far, thank you so much for looking through every single page in my bullet journal for this year. If you wanted to see some up-close pictures or keep in touch with all of the other bullet journal things that I'll have in the new year, you can follow me on my Instagram, which is @graciecreates. So I post a lot of bullet journaling content on there, including reels and other videos. And if you'd like to take a look into some of my past year's bullet journals, I'll have a playlist linked in the iCard and in the description box of a playlist of all my bullet journaling videos. So I've done some like journal with me videos and some other flip throughs and tours and stuff like that, so you can check them out there. And if you want to see more journaling content, make sure to let me know, because I love bullet journaling and I'm definitely a fanatic nowadays, so I'm totally down to make more bullet journaling content if that's what you want to see, so just let me know. Angel boy, never gonna
stand a chance.